I just ordered a
Bluetooth.
chicken and an egg from Amazon. I'll let you guys know.
Oh, God. Greetings, weary internet travelers, and welcome to This Week I'm Learning, the podcast where topics are lightly researched and the hosts are lightly touched in the head. This is episode 49, recorded June 28th, 2021. I'm your host, Brandon Vader, also known as Dracanis. Down below me, Psychonitrous, also known as Cody Stratman, coming to us live. Well, us live. You, after we make this into some sort of actual consumable format. From Bangkok, Thailand. Next to me, yes, beautiful view. Next to me, Charlie Stiffler, also known as Mjolnir, coming to us from Denver.
Or a Fields of
Colorado.
Wallace.
United States.
United States.
Sweet.
Down from him, catty corner from me, because we always put baby in the corner, Seeker4761. And I was told by my child that was the amount of times I would say arms this year.
God damn it.
I would
Don't
say that's a
disagree.
At
low
this point,
estimate,
it's child abuse.
if anything.
It's child abuse.
How is it child? It came
'Cause-
from him to me.
Exactly. He's making an observation about how you have a problem.
Monkey see, monkey do, you know?
I don't.
What is
I don't have a
this,
problem.
You learned it by watching you.
We learned it by watching
on
you.
this podcast.
What's that syndrome where
It's not better.
you start to love your captors? That's what's
Stockholm.
going on.
Oh, that is
Yeah.
Stockholm
Stockholm.
syndrome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lucas, blink twice if you need to be freed.
Oh, that's a yes. I'm on my way.
We're coming.
Yeah, Seeker is also known as Colton Roper, and he hails from Tucson, Arizona, also in the United States. I am in Gunnison, Colorado, United States. A little in the middle of nowhere, but beautiful.
So
views.
apparently, Seeker is actually my legal name, and my regular nickname is actually Colton Roper, by what you said. I'm also known as Colton Roper. I'm just saying. So, I go by Seeker now.
I
Last name
did
4761.
I did that with him, and I think with him. I think I do it with all of you.
Also known as.
Probably
Hey,
because
Grant.
you lately are more my internet friends than my real life see you in person friends.
Oh,
Fuck you.
That made me sad.
I mean,
I saw you in person 2 weeks ago.
I know.
I'm real.
I know. You're all real. I know you all.
I have
It's
seen
just-
all of you in the
Hey.
last 3 months.
Hey, Brandon. Knock,
Yeah.
knock.
Oh God. Go away. Who's
Knock,
there?
knock. I eat mop.
That who?
Well played. I eat mop poo. Yeah. Hilarious.
Yeah. Glad I ran that through the internal filter before I just
Went with it.
vomited that out.
Spit it
there.
out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nope. Well, at least two of us have some pretty rant-tastic topics, or at
Say
least
rant.
theoretically. I'm pretty ranty, and Cody said he was going to be pretty ranty, but
I did not say ranty. I said long, not ranty.
long. Okay, sorry. I'm apparently the ranty one
Yeah.
this
I
episode.
just want to
this season.
say, if for once, it's not me.
It's always you too, though.
The band?
It is. It is always one of us.
Y'all are
Well,
feisty
this week-
tonight. Jesus.
I mean, we're recording an hour later than normal, so we're all going to be a little spicy.
Sorry, I had to get my nose shoved. But I got to go outside for another, 2 minutes. I didn't get to sit in the sun this time. I sat in the shade. That was sad. I wanted to sit in the sun.
What is
I
that?
got to walk through a little
total
bit
of
of sun,
10
though.
minutes in the last 2 weeks?
Less
You've
than
been
that.
outside?
Outside, it's been if you want to say outside, it's been more 3 minutes in the last 2 weeks.
Jeez.
Ugh.
outside
Yeah,
my
you could be on
room,
your way to
maybe
Mars.
10 minutes.
But
Yeah.
when does your quarantine end? How many more days do you have?
Friday. So it's Tuesday today, for reference, for me, not for them. So
Danger.
three more days. Yeah, I get released on Friday. So Thursday night I get some sort of like fancy meal. So it's like we have like steak with peppercorn sauce and something else. It's a 3-course meal that they're like, ooh, you get to have a nice meal before you leave. So I gotta say,
You have completed the journey. Now have some
One-
nice food.
one thing I do have to kind of add is this hotel is amazing. Last night I was trying to get pizza from somewhere and just having no luck with the apps and stuff because my billing address is still in the US, and it's like there's no Mubon in my billing address. There's no such thing as that in the US. Like having all sorts of issues with every delivery app. Finally, like I call them up and they're like, well, no, like we can't take a credit card number over the phone. So I message the staff at the hotel, and then they actually go to the pizza place and send me pictures of what they have there, and it's like you could just pay on checkout. Like,
Damn.
That's awesome.
I know, that's so cool.
That's
Slow clap
some
for your
real.
hotel.
Yeah, that's some concierge service and a half. You don't really see that
Yeah, so
in
shout
the
out
lower
to
end. La Quintas.
yeah. I'm gonna have to
Motels.
say, Grand Center Point definitely.
Friend of the pod.
Yeah,
Not sponsored.
yeah, absolutely.
We just like them.
Yeah. Anyway, that's enough about me.
Cool.
All right. Well, Cody this week is going to talk all about booms.
Mm-hmm.
So you missed a chance there.
Per-
All about
perhaps
that
of the
booms. All about
Sonic?
booms.
Possibly Sonic booms.
Possibly. Maybe something else.
It's not the future of air travel, I'll tell you that much.
And Colton is going to tell us that sometimes he drones on and on in the desert.
Cody, you'll probably be interested in this particular
Probably.
thing I'm going to be talking about.
I mean, it has drone in the title, so
It flies.
Probably.
So.
It's probably related to that. But I'm also interested in what Charlie's going to tell us about how there is no way to recycle. ...
Dot.
I figured that was
Yeah.
important. The ellipses.
It's the tagline to every naysayer of this technological adaptation, and they all say that we can't, and they're wrong. So,
Screw those people. We hate them.
Brandon, you're gonna crank it up to 11. The confusion that is that it only goes up to like 6, or that you're referencing directly Spinal Tap, and I'm not sure which one's more confusing.
I'm directly referencing Spinal Tap and the crank it up to 11.
Yeah, I know,
But
but like the confusion that in.
I tried, and apparently I just confused you, so that's okay. Because
Well,
you get to
the confusion
you get
that
to
is-
you get to feel a small part of what my morning was like.
Ooh.
Oh no,
Oh.
Yes.
not your morning.
Ooh.
Do
Yes.
tell.
Yes,
In a
I
minute,
shall later.
Cody.
Booms. Boom us.
Long.
Alrighty. Well, let me pull up my research because I forgot to do that beforehand, like a good person.
49 goddamn episodes, boys.
Damn it!
Just saying.
What is my password?
What is your
What?
password?
No.
Mother's
Shit.
maiden name. For posterity's sake, of course.
Uh-oh.
Dog's name.
Oh, that's CR research. No wonder that's not working. Turns
That's my
out.
fucking research.
Well, your password
Yeah.
is not the same as my password.
That's
Hey, by
good.
the
I'm
way,
glad we
I'm a
established
little
that.
hurt. I'm a little hurt about that because
What's
I'm also CS.
Oh,
That's true.
Why do you
Oh.
not have a tab in here? Actually,
Because you guys never gave me one. I'm a little bitter.
I don't want
it's
one.
not like
Anyway,
you
it's for
can't create
losers.
one.
Here,
I know.
here.
We could create one. Yeah.
I'll
Just
fix
make it
this for you.
CIV research, please.
A little
Want
behind
to
the
be like
scenes
whiny
action for
bitch or
our.
something.
So-
How about this? How about just Stiffler research?
Okay.
The boom lift, also known as the aerial work platform, also known as aerial device, elevating work platform, cherry picker, bucket truck, or mobile elevating work platform, or MEWP, MOOP, is a mechanical device used to provide temporary access or people equipment to inaccessible areas, usually by height. There's distinct types of platforms that may be known as cherry picker or scissor lift. Nope, not quite. That's the first type of boom. So Venga Boys, Boom 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 Boom,
Oh, jeez.
released in October 1998 and sold more than 620,000 topics and was number one on the UK singles card and
God damn it.
ending the 20th of June 1999. No, that's not quite right either. Okay, the boomerang, known as a hunting tool by Aboriginals, was a flat airfoil that is
I feel
designed
like-
to spin around an
I
axis
feel like you
perpendicular
just
to the
typed in
direction
the
of
word
its
boom
flight.
and let Google finish whatever the fuck your topic was going to be right now.
Not just Google, my friend. So,
Bing,
Boom.
too.
boom boom, also known as baby defecating, is used as an endearing term, according to Urban Dictionary.
I was gonna say, are you quoting Urban
Oh,
Dictionary?
fuck
Are you
me.
wearing your tie-back suit before googling that?
Or better yet, boom boom can also be known as an act of intercourse in this part of the world. Or, to get more technical, boom and bust cycles in the market are defined by... Okay, fine, let's get to what I'm really talking about.
Get on with it.
Well, we're waiting.
You guys don't know how much random
Hey, Junior.
extra research I did for no reason. All right, so really we're going to talk about flying at the speed of sound, or past the speed of sound. Yes, Brandon got it right, but he also got it wrong many, many times, too. Just want to reference that. So, what is the speed of sound?
It is
That's-
the speed relative to your air pressure relative to your sea level. So the speed of sound is a higher speed at sea level because of higher air pressure you have to overcome. So the higher you go, the slower the speed of sound actually is.
Technically, it depends on
That
the
is
medium
actually
itself.
correct. And you are also right, too. So both of you are right. What's
Aw.
interesting is actually, comparatively, it's very slow in air versus other mediums. So in air, it's roughly 343 meters per second at 20 degrees Celsius or 68 degrees Fahrenheit, or 1,235 kilometers an hour, or 1,125 feet per second, or 767 miles per hour.
At sea level. Yeah.
Yes, I believe so. Yeah.
Yep.
Now, in water, it's 4.3 times faster. In iron, it's 15 times faster. And
Although that trip would suck.
no, here's another one. In diamond, it's 35 times faster.
Huh. So the,
Interesting.
Get all those
denser
carbon
the
atoms
object.
all
That makes
all
sense.
lined up.
I never thought about
Yeah.
that, but the denser the object or the
Ting.
medium, the faster the speed is. That makes sense.
So, what
Physics.
is a sonic boom? So, it's basically
It is-
when air. Go ahead.
No. Go for
So
it.
when an aircraft passes through air, it basically creates pressure waves in front of the aircraft and behind it. And when those waves basically build up, it creates that sonic boom, which happens at that 767 miles per hour at 20 degrees at sea level. 20 degrees Celsius, that is. So we'll talk about the first supersonic planes. The first one that's really accepted was in October 14th, 1947 by Charles or Chuck Yeager with the Bell X-1 research rocket plane. The first production aircraft, so not an experimental aircraft, but actual production aircraft, was in a F-86. I never know how to say this word. Is it Canada Air or Canada Air Sabre
Canadair.
or Sabre? I'm pretty sure it's a Sabre. And that was done by Jacqueline Cochran. Now there
Cochran.
was... Okay.
Otherwise known as the grandfather of Zephyrin Cochran.
Ah, cool. Yes, Sonic Boom. Thank you for showing that. Yeah, there's lots of pictures of F-18s hitting Sonic Boom.
Yep.
Now, there was also Go ahead, sorry.
This is one of my favorite pictures because you can actually see the shockwaves also impacting the water directly underneath it.
Ah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
High-risk maneuver, but yes, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Blue Angel 5, I mean, they're doing the hit-and-run tactic right there. Everyone's like, ooh, look, the 4 in a perfect diamond, and then boom, right over the top of you.
Yep.
So there was
Sorry.
also a
rattle.
German prototype that probably, maybe actually could have done it first. And this was in late 1945. It was captured by the Soviets. Its pilot was Wolfgang Zeiss, and they said that it would have exceeded Mach 1 when being released by a B-29 at 32,800 feet. So, again, higher, so it actually would have an easier time getting past that versus at sea level, which would be
Right, and
more difficult.
I mean, you're adding thrust to your gravity.
Yeah. So it's kind of cheating, but
Yeah.
It's worth mentioning regardless. So the civil aircraft, everybody knows about one civil aircraft that goes over the speed of sound, but there's actually two. Yes, you're right, Brandon. Can you name the other one?
The Konkordsky. It's a Tupolev 22 or 2.
144. I'll give you honestly. I'll give you points for it because Tupolev Tu-144 produced from 1967 to 1983. First flight was in 1968, and it suffered from some issues, and they had two notable crashes. One at the Paris Air Show, and then there was another one in 1983. So really, after that first crash, it was really only used by NASA and more scientific-ish things rather than everyday travel. The other one is the Concorde, which is the one with the pointy and droopy nose. That was produced from 1965 to 1979. First flight was 1969. And that could carry 92 to 128 passengers in a 2-2 layout, which means as you're seeing the seats, 2 on one side, 2 on the other, single aisle aircraft. And that flew until 2003. It had one crash, which was in 2000, which there's debates on why that was caused, but it could be several different things. From a piece of metal left on the runway from a DC-10, which was a very notable aircraft at the time for having issues, as well as partially pilot error and mechanical error. So still, it actually, up until that point, it actually had the record of being the safest aircraft in the skies. So it kind of... Go ahead.
I just want to clarify, because you said NASA uses the one that I said, the Konkordsky.
It wouldn't have been
It was
NASA. It was Soviet design. It would have been the Soviet space program.
Yeah, so the XB-70 Valkyrie, I think is what you were talking about. It was a proposed Mach 5 bomber, and that was used by NASA after the
Okay, I might have gotten my
crash.
sources mixed up on that then. Thank you for
That's
the
all right.
correction.
Yeah.
So it sucks because none of us right now will be able to fly the Concorde because, well, it no longer flies. So really, we're kind of SOL as far as faster than sound or supersonic flight. Maybe. So there's two companies that came out that were going to create supersonic aircraft. One of them, unfortunately, has already gone under, which was Aerion, which started in 2004, and basically trying to make small, fast aircraft. It wound up folding earlier this year, and it had three different designs. So there was the Aerion AS2, or actually, I'm only seeing two different ones here. Yeah, the AS2 and the AS3. So the AS2 was going to be a 12-passenger aircraft, trying to go for Mach 1.4, and the AS3 with a range of 4750 nautical miles. The AS3 was going to it was unveiled in March 2021. It's supposed to be a 50-seat, so significantly bigger, but still not a big aircraft as far as, seat capacity. And that was going to have a range of 3,800 nautical miles. Then there's the other company that is, as of now, still around and still has not folded, called Boom Supersonic. An apt name for this.
Boom.
So their current aircraft that they are working on production of is called the Overture. And the big news recently about it is United has actually ordered 15 aircraft from them with the option of 35 more. And they're touting this as 100% sustainable and using sustainable aviation fuel, which is a slightly different type of fuel. The issue that I see with this is it's not available at every airport, but the other side of it is that it's only going to be able to fly to select airports, and I'll explain why in a minute. And that flies, it's got a 4,250 nautical mile range, and it can fly at Mach 1.7. And it's got a 1-to-1 business class seat layout. The issue with the range is they're touting, flying from Seattle to Tokyo in 4 hours, which normally would take like 8-9 hours to do that. But that is just at the very, 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 very edge of the range of this aircraft. So depending on weight, that may fall short, which means refueling stop in Anchorage, which adds time to this and may not make this work. These aircraft, because of regulations and because of that sonic boom, cannot go supersonic over land. So there's only a few routes that they would actually be viable for with that range. A more realistic approach would be to have a longer range supersonic aircraft and do routes like from Sydney to LA, or basically anything over the Pacific Ocean. Now, there is a very lucrative and highly competitive route, and that's why the Concorde, I wouldn't say it did well. It actually lost money, all said and told. Even though what happened is the British and French governments wound up funding and buying most of the aircraft, and then they sold those to British Airways and Air France at a heavy discount. And it was like $8,000 to fly round trip from New York to London. So not really economical. And the funny thing is, not really comfortable either. Because it had that 2-2 layout, it was pretty much a maybe premium economy equivalent product for on a mainline carrier. So like there's a novelty of going that fast, and there's the time that it might work, but you also have to consider is the time difference between those markets too. So if you take off from New York in the morning, you are still landing in London in the evening because of the time difference. So it doesn't really work for same-day business travel, which is what the market would be aimed at. It might work the other direction. So, and one-way travel really doesn't work that well.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would love to fly faster than... I almost said faster than light. I'd like to do that too, but I would really like to fly faster than sound.
I would love to break the laws of physics just once.
Yes.
They're not so much laws; they're more guidelines.
That are guidelines.
Party.
I was gonna say, is there even a demand at all for this? Especially with what happened this last year when teleconferencing kind of became everything. Like, is there even really a demand for it at that level?
Kind of. The problem is the demand at that level is really done by private jets. So I mean,
see, and that's where I was going to go to next. Like, if you have an executive who a company believes their time is worth however much it costs to fly 8,000, what if it's 8,000? Assuming it's going to be probably pretty expensive considering the low passengers, the specialized aircraft, and everything like that. It goes back to the area of, like, you may as well just have, if a company's willing to spend that much money for a ticket, they probably could almost afford a private jet at that point.
So you don't need a sonic boom aircraft. You need something that goes into low Earth orbit. You just whoop, and then you're in Thailand in 3.5 hours.
Yeah, and what's interesting about that is there was actually this started because I found an article of somebody talking about, Elon Musk back in 2013 talking about flying over the continental U.S. with basically faster than or supersonic with the sonic booms. And apparently there have been technologies that have allowed them to diminish that sonic boom effect. If you fly high enough, and there's some things that apparently disrupt that buildup of sound waves, so it's, more like a soft thud rather than a big, window-shattering boom.
A gentle caress.
By the way, happy birthday, Elon. Happy 50 years old.
Oh.
It's Elon's
Happy birthday.
Today or when this
birthday,
comes
Elon.
out? Must be today.
Today. I don't know
Probably
when
today.
it comes out, guaranteed. Yeah.
June 28th.
June 28th, 1971.
Well, I can't say that because he's, I'm a day after you guys.
Well,
But-
guess what? Starfleet's coming after you for breaking the temporal prime directive, so you're screwed.
So,
Depends which captain.
two interesting tidbits to add on to your discussion, Cody. Did you know there was actually a U.S. prototype for a Boeing supersonic transport?
Really?
It was going to be a swing wing rather than a delta wing.
Yep.
So it would have variable wing geometry. So during supersonic speeds, the wings would be swept back, much like the B-1B Lancer, and
Or
then
the Tomcat.
Yep.
or the Tomcat, and then at landing they would swing out for better low speed stability. Uh, if I'm remembering correctly, it was not even ever test flown. They did some pretty big mock-ups of it, but it was pretty much killed once they realized that after they
international
did
only, basically.
Yep.
The fact that it couldn't fly domestically killed the project.
Yep, because there was a test by the U.S. Air Force with NASA involved, where they actually did fighters passing overhead to simulate the sonic booms from like constant airlines. And people kind of started going insane, and windows were breaking, and car alarms, and just, well, probably not car alarms back then, but like just pandemonium, just pure
The kid on the
pandemonium,
block that
and
acts as
everybody
a
was just
car
like,
alarm.
ah!
Yeah, I could see that. Like, you know, some people that live near an airport are already irritated at, you know, engine noise and stuff. But
My thing with that, like, I heard someone complaining, like, they live by our airport.
oh my
They're-
God, yeah. So
I
what,
will have
the
to pull it
2
up.
flights a day.
Yeah, I'll have to pull it up. But they live over the or underneath the flight path for the dirt runway. Well, they bought their house in the winter when that runway isn't operational. Well, now it's summer, so all of your bush pilots utilize that dirt runway, and a lot of training takes place on that runway if you're doing your like adventure flights and stuff like that in Cessnas.
Yeah.
And they actually wrote and complained, and there's now a little notice. A friend of mine still works at the airport, and he took a picture of the notice, and it basically is this little piece of paper that says, if you are flying out on this runway, mind your altitude. And we've had complaints, but this is FAA sanctioned, so
Yeah. Before you buy your house,
Whatever.
like, 2 things to
It
check:
can't be that
internet
big a deal.
availability, and
yes.
if you're near an airport, expect it to be utilized, even if it's not the same season. Well, like, there are websites to look at to check this. Flightconnections.com would be one to check.
Definition
to
of
see.
a Karen. Honestly,
Yeah.
trying to
Speaking
Fight
of
him.
speaking
Oh,
of
yeah.
weather, when does it rain money?
win.
Never.
When there's a change in the weather.
That was terrible. But yeah, I don't know. Me personally, I'd be like, hey, cool. I'm gonna sit out on my deck and like, oh, that's a 172. Oh, that's really cool. That's a this.
Yep.
But then again, I'm a flight nerd. Speaking of being a flight nerd, there is actually another supersonic jet currently in the works.
Really?
Yes, Virgin Galactic in May signed a deal with NASA to share expertise and resources. The current phase is they are designing a Mach 3 9 to 19 person delta wing aircraft. It's going to have a cruising altitude of just over 60,000 feet, and it's actually going to use Rolls-Royce engines, which was the engine manufacturer for Concorde.
Yeah, and that's what Overture is talking about using too. But apparently
Okay.
these engines don't exist yet, even though they're the same engine manufacturer.
The thing about going Mach 3 is that the end of the fan in the engine is going something like Mach 12.
Yep.
So there's I said that they're more of guidelines, but there are some limits.
Yeah, and
Well,
we're
Well, at
reaching
higher
kind of
altitudes,
the
you can change the rules a little bit.
Yeah.
Not a terrible.
well,
I
Now-
mean, so the podcast Dots, Lines, and Destinations has kind of talked about this, that we're getting to the point with all of these efficiency upgrades and these engines that we're kind of nearing the edge of what might be physically possible, and to do that is going to require a huge step forward in the advancement of materials. I mean, that 777 that the engine went, by Denver a few months ago, or the Southwest Airlines, that the engine went splat and then the fan went into and broke a window. So
Killed someone.
Yeah, we're already starting to see some of these engine issues. We'll see. I think we need a technological leap forward before we're able to do this.
We just need
maybe
some
there
inertial
is, and I just
dampers
don't
and
know.
we'll be fine.
Well, what I'm kind of surprised at is that none of the new designs are thinking about utilizing something like the Lockheed Martin SR-71, the ramjet. I mean,
yeah.
It might be a fuel issue.
But at that speed, isn't the ramjet more efficient at high speeds? That's why it was such a big deal. It's significantly more efficient. And if it's an international flight anyways, and you're going Mach 3, theoretically a good portion of your flight, you want to get up there as quick as possible and then just go.
God, I love the LA Speed story.
What?
Yeah, so good. So good.
What is the range of the SR-71? I don't know if you would know
without refueling.
I want to say it was a spy plane. It was probably huge.
3,355 miles.
So not that much actually.
So just
it's
shy of 3,400 miles.
So the issue with that is you're going to have, the engine size compared to the body of the aircraft was pretty significant. So to actually fly more weight that distance is, again,
well, you also are thinking about a ramjet which was designed in the 60s. So we have
true
60 years of innovations. I think there could be a huge advance if they just did it. But I don't know.
We just need to ask Charles Xavier to borrow his for a little bit. I mean, it's like a 12-passenger jet. It'll be fine.
Fine.
Well, I mean, you could almost just
with VTOL
take all of the reconnaissance equipment out of the SR-71 and probably put 6 jump jets or jump seats in there. It would not be comfortable, but man, you would get there freaking quick. Have little ejection ports so that the plane doesn't even have to slow down. Just
sufficient.
Drop you off in Alaska on the way to Tokyo.
I think the G-forces of being ejected from an aircraft at that speed would be lethal.
And also, you're thinking about the type of people that could afford that. They're probably pretty old. They probably
or fat,
not do terribly well.
Funk! Oh, he got stuck. Oh darn!
Oh, killed another one. We boast a 10% survival rate.
Hey, we got his money
on
already.
our
It doesn't
airline.
matter. Can't sue us when you're dead, right?
I mean,
we'll just fly away faster.
Yeah, just make sure they don't have any family. That's all you gotta do.
I think it's time for Colton to drone on in the desert.
Hey, before you do that, I'm afraid for my calendar.
I don't want to know why.
Its days are numbered.
Colton,
someday
continue, please.
Someday I'm gonna figure out where you get these damn jokes. So,
and I'm going to make that website go offline.
I write actually most of them. The worst part.
Groan. So I think all of us have at least a passing interest in drones. Am I right? I mean,
yeah.
Passing it. I mean, Cody,
yes.
with exceptions, built one from scratch and deals with all the intricate details and blah blah and so forth. Now, because we're all at least familiar with drones, we sort of know what they're actually capable of. We generally know how fast they can go. We generally know how high they could go, and their general flight characteristics. Commercial drones, that is. So, let me tell you a tale. So, on February 9th, around 10 p.m., according to reports, a helicopter belonging to the U.S. Customs and Border Patrol encountered what was described as a highly modified drone. Encountered, as in nearly ran into. This is how they made first contact. The drone nearly ran supposedly into this helicopter. This started a 70-mile, hour-long chase over the city of Tucson, Arizona. So a bit of local news, actually, here for me. The pilot described the drone having super abilities. There were 40-mile-per-hour gusts that were happening that night, but the drone was able to easily reach speeds over 100 miles per hour, and it was almost looking like it wasn't affected at all by the conditions at the time. Even though it was nighttime, the drone was able to zip around from 4,000 to 14,000 feet like it was nothing. Again, according to this pilot. So actually, it was such a big deal because this was flying over the city of Tucson. The Tucson Police Department chopper actually joined in on this chase as well. So there are multiple departments with reports of what happened. Neither chopper could actually get a real visual on it, even with night vision that these pilots had at the time. But we're able to follow it due to a green tracking light on the drone's underside, hence my green background. Both pilots reported that the drone was actually flying over illegal airspace over Tucson International Airport, as well as Davis-Monthan Air Base. And as Cody knows, there are certain areas you cannot fly a drone legally for safety reasons, for national security reasons, for just don't be a dick reasons. Many reasons.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of putting it.
That's pretty accurate. The drone actually appeared to be was trying to shake the pursuing helicopters while staying near these restricted airspace areas.
And also that elevation that it was flying at is way above what you're supposed to be flying a drone at.
Yes, so you kind of start to see this isn't a commercial drone necessarily, at least a common one.
No.
One that you can buy off of DJI or whatever.
Especially the time that it was flying. They said that
Let
it was
alone the
like
range
an
of the
hour.
transmitter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, it was actually reported earlier in the day that it was actually seen hovering over an energy depot on the airbase. So, investigators have pretty much decided that this was a reconnaissance drone, or at least someone who was just interested in what the airbase was doing for whatever reason. And I'm going to show you guys something real quick. I don't know if you can kind of see it, but that is the flight path of the Tucson police helicopter that night. So kind of see where it's kind of bundled up in the lower, I don't know, left-hand corner for you guys, I guess. That's right there. That's kind of where the airport and the air base are located. That's kind of where it is. So very funny, Charlie. They're not saying it's extraterrestrial yet. They're not saying it at all. But the FBI was called in to actually investigate. So one kind of funny fact about this entire incident. So in addition to that impressive maneuverability of the drone actually appeared to have an incredible battery life. The plan was actually for those helicopters to outlast the drone in the sky, forcing it down in a flight of attrition by depleting its battery in order to recover it and possibly find out who the hell was flying the damn thing. But it was actually the helicopters that had to give up the chase because they had to refuel. And of course, when that happened, they lost the drone, I also want to believe. And again, they're not saying it's anything extraterrestrial. They're really not. Publicly. And again, I don't believe that either necessarily. So, again, this is such a big deal that the FBI was called in to investigate. So far, it appears that they found out that the drone was launched about 5 miles south of Tucson. They believe the pilot was using some sort of infrared tracking, in addition to a clear line of sight of the copters as the drone would orbit them and abruptly fly behind them in order to avoid a clear visual. And that's pretty much all they have found out so far. This is, it's been 4 months at this point, and that's all they've actually found out and released publicly, of course.
So, yeah, I think it's some sort of engineer hobbyist that built something.
That's kind of what I'm thinking.
That's my theory.
Again, not not commercial.
Like, the one thing, like, everything else on this seems very plausible. The line, so 5 miles away, there are technologies that would allow you to be able to actually do flight from that distance, direct, first-person view even. The thing is the battery life. Like, that is incredible.
Like, there's theories that it's actually a gas-powered drone of some sort, which would make a little more sense.
You mean? I think you meant to say swamp gas.
May as well. Who knows? They don't
Weather
know.
balloons.
As far as the pilots were concerned, they were not aware of any sort of
Little green
technology,
men.
any sort of technology that could actually do what they were seeing. And again, there's 2 different departments that have reports on this incident, and there's flight paths, there's all sorts of things. I was able to find like radio chatter that was kind of going on between the TPD and their central whatever radio people. So let's see here. Where was I? So again, incidents like this are not completely unheard of in Arizona either. And in 2019, a similar kind of drone incident actually happened in Phoenix, where there was multiple drones kind of doing the same thing, and it actually became known as Dronapalooza, which is a silly name, but just a bunch of drones were just randomly flying around, and they were trying to chase them with helicopters. Kind of funny in some ways, but weird.
Gotta have Benny Hill music in the background.
I
of that.
know.
Do,
Right?
do, 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 do.
Not that incident, Charlie. That's a completely different one from many years earlier. Yeah, isn't that the one that was like in 1991 or something?
This is the Phoenix Light, 20 years
Yeah,
ago.
that's the big one.
Yeah.
But as for the Tucson incident, Raytheon Missiles and Defense actually operates a facility south of Tucson, but any sort of experimental flight with a flight path similar to the drone that took that day would actually be highly illegal, but who's to say
It's
someone
Raytheon.
didn't... It's Raytheon.
It's Raytheon. They
And
do what the hell they want.
if
They're
they're
probably
trying to
proving
test
their concept of
something,
something, yeah.
and again, they're not claiming it was Raytheon, but again, there are multiple
They're
test
also not claiming
facilities.
it wasn't.
Yeah, there are multiple test facilities for Raytheon. There's a couple other smaller contractors that do the same kind of experimental flights south of Tucson. So they don't know what it was, and again, they've pretty much decided that it's not necessarily a hobbyist. They said it can be done, but based on the technology, based on the range, based on the maneuverability, there's some real big money with whatever is going behind, according to officials. Or it could be aliens. We don't fucking know.
The Slendermen are already here.
Totes, and they're flying drones and their little FPV things. So, kind of a cool little interesting story. Then again,
First it was the clowns in the forest, now it's the Slendermen.
it's weird. You combine
So
that
we're
with
gonna
all
have
like
to
the
get all
weird
that-
UFO shit. And again, I don't believe in all this crap from that perspective, because I believe everything can be explained. But just interesting. It's interesting how it happened literally. Like Cody knows how close I live to the air base, so kind of interesting.
It could have been over your house. As a matter of fact, I've looked
It
at the
was
flight
actually there a
path,
couple times,
and it looks like
was.
it was over your house.
So kind of interesting, but
Where were you on the night in question?
I am not at liberty to say anything. I was not working though. I would have loved to work that night and actually watch the 2 helicopters, because I would have noticed it, seeing them,
Where
2 of
were
them
you?
flying around the city. Don't worry. Well,
Were you
Could be
shining a
lighting
bright
it.
light at him?
Your
Is that
spotlight
what that
was
was?
not effective.
I was absolutely.
That's terrible.
shit.
Go sit in the corner and think about what you just did.
And while you
No.
do that, Charlie's going to tell us about recycling. ...
Well, I am going to first ask you a very important question.
Nope.
I only know 25 letters of the alphabet.
Do you?
I don't know why. Okay.
God damn it. Someday.
Charlie, please start talking to save us from yourself.
Charlie, interrupt
Okay.
yourself and save us from yourself.
So, what do you think the most common anti-adopter thing that is not recyclable would be?
Not recyclable.
Or at
Like
least they claim it is not recyclable.
There's a type
Electronics
of
and some?
plastic that they claim is not recyclable.
What'd you say, Colton?
Like
I was going to say electronics of some
Okay.
sort.
Brandon?
Toilet paper.
Nope. Wow. Wow, really?
I
How are
wouldn't
you
want
going to
to
recycle that?
I'd say pretty easily. honestly.
Lithium-ion batteries.
Damn it! That was gonna be my
So,
eighth choice.
one of the most common arguments that I get when I tell someone that I want an EV is that, oh well, it has a more impactful environmental footprint than an internal combustion engine because of the lithium-ion battery, and oh, that's only gonna last 10 years, and you gotta throw it in a dump, and it's gonna be hazardous waste, blah 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 blah. And the fact is, they couldn't be further from the truth. So, 60% of lithium-ion battery production goes to exactly 1% of a entire field of sales. What is it?
The phones?
Marketing?
Laptops.
Automobile sales.
Oh.
1% of all
Oh, that
automobile
makes sense.
sales and take up 60% of all lithium-ion battery production on Earth right now.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. There's several problems. Like what do you do with a bad battery pack? What do you personally do with it? You throw it on a shelf. You throw it in the trash.
I take it to
I
Ace, who will
discharge it.
recycle it for free.
Excellent. What do they do with it?
I actually had to ask this for work. They send it to a third-party recycler that then actually recycles the battery,
Excellent.
like removes
So
the cells.
the way they do that is they first safely discharge the battery, ensuring that there is no stored charge, because otherwise this process would rapidly become explosive. And then they grind it up into what's called black mass. And excuse me while I show you what black mass looks like. It looks like that. Yeah.
Like
Black and
oatmeal.
mass.
Yeah, so it's the core components of the black mass are nickel, cobalt, lithium, graphite, and copper, along with aluminum and some plastics. And after the grinding process, they actually have rid the black mass of most of its copper, aluminum, and plastic. After it's gone through that process, it can go through basically one of two primary ways of extracting the individual component metals. Anyone know what the two ways to extract the metals from themselves would be? Like to just discreetly remove lithium versus graphite versus cobalt versus manganese.
Melt?
I'm guessing.
Centrifuge.
Yeah.
So melt is definitely
Oh.
one. It's called pyrometallurgy. What's the other way?
Magnet.
No.
No.
It's
Centers?
called
Yeah, I was gonna
say-
say centrifuge.
hydrometallurgy. It's hydrometallurgy, and it's all chemical solutions and solutes and precipitates and all that stuff. So
Oh.
there are well over 100 startup companies in the world right now that are actively working through the core concepts of lithium-ion battery reclamation. And what we're finding right now is that they're actually pairing up with a manufacturer so they can distinctly and discreetly produce a raw material that manufacturer would use. So the scrap material from the production process yields about 10% of the raw components. So like graphite sheets, lithium, cobalt, nickel, all of those pure metals that are being basically wasted because of the cutting and shaving, and they're basically creating lithium batteries are rolled cells. So the tails of those rolls, in order to make them nice and clipped, that's right around 10% waste. They would then get that specific discrete product back to their recycler, their either in-house recycler or a third party that is basically married to their organization, and then they have a raw material that they can then turn again into the blanks of blank material in order for them to start the process over again. In 2015, the total storage capacity of all the lithium cells on Earth was 60 gigawatt hours. In 2020, it is 300 gigawatt hours. and they are projecting in 2030 it will be 2 terawatt hours, or 2,000 gigawatt hours, for your translation. And they're estimating that 1.8 trillion watt hours will be in transportation alone, which is just makes your brain fizzle a little bit. Okay, the demand for lithium right now in 2020 is 300,000 metric tons a year. They're estimating that it will be 1.7 billion or 1.7 million metric tons in 2030. That's huge, and there is that much lithium on Earth, and frankly, that's accessible, but we don't have enough mines, and more mines isn't really the solution. It has to incorporate the recycling of lithium cells. Did you know? And this is not good news for Elon, but sorry to say it on your birthday, Elon. 39% of the cell production were lost in the ramp-up phase for the Model 3. So that means 3 to 4 out of every 10 cells they built and made for cars had to be thrown away. Could not be used.
Wow.
So they were having massive efficiency problems. Well, the nice thing is those can be recycled directly and basically decompiled into their core materials and reprocessed and created into new batteries. So, the silicon gods, you can just keep on rolling. You have infinite re-rolls on your materials.
It's like getting flint from gravel in Minecraft. You just pop the gravel back down, hit it.
Yeah. Eventually,
until you get flint.
So the hydrometallurgy is big, scary chemicals. But in current lab scale, it's self-contained, no risk of EPA, spill. It's not. The risk to the provider is mitigatable.
They
but
probably
it is-
want
it is
to,
present.
for cost effectiveness, they probably want to recycle the chemicals itself too.
They are actually 100% recyclable themselves and reusable.
So it's even cost effective to recycle in that
Absolutely.
case. Reuse it.
Pyrometallurgy, which would be melting the different components, you have to add way too much energy to the process, and therefore you'd be losing on the investment. So basically making the feedstock for the plants homogeneous with the recycled materials is the key. So if I were, I don't know, hypothetically in the stock market wanting to invest in energy on a 2030 yield, I would be wanting to find who I think the biggest automaker is going to be in 2030 and buying stock in their lithium recycling program now, because that is about 20-fold increase in the demand, and their market share value is going to be huge.
We are not financial advisors.
You're not in the United States. You don't have to say that anymore.
That's true. I'll say it. We are not financial advisors.
So what's cool about this process is in small scale, it is 100% efficient at regaining the original materials from the production of the cells. And at medium to large scale, they're currently at 99.7% efficiency for regaining the lithium, the cobalt, the manganese, the copper, the aluminum, all of that. So pretty freaking cool. The current market share, or the previous market share in 2019, was 1.5 billion. 2025 they're estimating at 12.2, and in 2030 it'll be 18.1. So that is just shy of that 20-fold goal that I'm hoping that my money will make personally. So I'm optimistic. I'm hopeful. I'm thinking that I'm gonna buy a Tesla. Its battery's gonna last 200,000 miles. I'll get a new battery, and then they'll just make my battery a new battery again, and keep going. Rinse, recycle, repeat. Before we get any farther, I just want you guys to know that the only way you can make holy water
Just got delivered. 1 second.
is is to be to have the hell boiled out of it. You're gonna boil the hell out of it.
God damn it.
That's terrible.
Thank you.
I thought it was going to be something like stabbing the water and make it holy.
I just want you guys to know that I always knock on the fridge before I open it, because you never know when you might see salad dressing.
God damn it, Charlie. God damn it.
Just terrible.
Cody did not have to hear any of that.
So bad.
Oh, thank God.
You're welcome. All right. Well, I guess, Brandon.
Save us from Charlie.
Spinal Tap.
Ah, yes, the Rantacular. So, Windows 11 was officially announced last Thursday, June 24th, 2021. The first insider builds are currently available for compatible systems and for users enrolled in the Windows Insider program. Microsoft released a tool called PC Health Check, kind of deceptive sounding, that was supposed to tell you whether or not your current system is compatible with the upcoming Windows 11 OS. This tool has since been pulled down from their site due to user feedback. I have used it on, well, now 3 systems, but 2 systems at writing. My eBay salvage Dell Latitude 5490, which received great news. This PC meets all system requirements for Windows 11 and it's free. We'll let you know when it's ready to install. I honestly thought of the 2 computers I tested this on, this would be the one most likely to fail. The 8th Gen i5 sits at the bottom of the requirements, as does the screen resolution of 1366 by 768, narrowly beating out the 720p requirement. I also tested this on my Surface Go 2, a shoo-in I thought, since it's less than a year old. My Surface Go 2 received a "this PC can't run Windows 11. The processor isn't supported for Windows 11. While this PC doesn't meet the system requirements to run Windows 11, you'll keep getting Windows 10 updates." So my 1-year-old Microsoft product isn't eligible. Fantastic. I dove deeper into it, and the CPU that powers my Surface Go 2, Intel's Core M3 8100Y, is actually listed on the current Windows 11 supported Intel processors compatibility guide. Let me switch to a slide here.
Picture time.
Picture time.
Oh, fuck them.
As you can see behind me if you are watching, I don't know if I'm pointing at the right side. I'm not. Right here. Right there, it says
Free upgrade for the Surface
free
Go 2.
upgrades to Windows 11.
Son of a bitch.
Surface Go 2. So that's a bit of a... I mean, that's good news, because it's right on their website. It's going to get it. But this means there's an issue with the PC Health Check tool. Many other users on Reddit are reporting issues like this, where other Microsoft sources cite that hardware meets requirements only to be told otherwise from the PC Check Health tool. Additionally, the lack of additional information within the tool is infuriating. Click on the little Learn More button, you say? It takes you to the bottom of a Windows 11 page where the system's requirements are, which the requirements simply state: processor 1 GHz or faster with 2 or more cores on a compatible 64-bit processor or system on a chip. So, they're finally getting rid of 32-bit.
I was about to
Excellent.
mention that. Yeah.
Yep. 4 gigabytes of memory, 64 gigabytes or more of storage. System firmware, you have to be able to use UEFI and Secure Boot. It also requires a TPM, or Trusted Platform Module, of version 2.0. That's kind of a little issue. Graphics card DirectX 12 compatible, and then it has /WDDM2.x. Apparently that's Windows Display Driver Model 2.x. The display has to be larger than 9 inches with HD resolution, so 720p. Internet connection, Microsoft account, and internet connectivity required for setup for Windows 11 Home. So
Unbelievable.
Yeah, we'll get deeper into that, but
It's interesting that it says home specific with that.
Yeah, I assume that they assume that if you're on enterprise or professional, you're going to be internet connected anyway. But when I visited with my Surface Go, there was this handy little flag right above that recommended requirements or minimum requirements. This PC will not run Windows 11. Your PC did not meet the needed requirements. You can continue to get Windows 10 updates, or you can shop for a new Windows 10 PC that does meet the requirements. With the helpful links below, can I continue to use Windows 10? And shop new PCs. Shop new PCs. Surface products. Surface Go 2. That's compatible. Lots of help with this warning and suggestion. Zero diagnostic help here from Microsoft. Not even a specific point out to what didn't make the requirements. You linked directly from the diagnostic tool. Why not pass in that information, add some code to highlight the system requirement that you didn't meet? That would make it a better experience.
They don't fucking care.
Or tell you to rebuy your computer. Yeah. It's brilliant. That's
yeah. It's absolute nuts. Like, there has got to be something wrong with the tool for it to be like, it's not okay. Like, I would get it if it said, Windows 11 is not going to be ready for this machine until closer to the release date, or something like that. I get that in the past, stupidly enough, their Surface devices are usually some of the problem children for feature updates. I don't fucking get it. Microsoft makes the hardware. Why can't they just be like, we're going to test it on our own shit first? That to me would make sense.
Yep, that's exactly why it can't happen.
Yeah. But you look back at the system requirements, honestly, they're pretty meager, except for the TPM requirement. While writing this, I actually ran the tool on my desktop. Custom built.
I forget. What is the TPM?
Trusted Platform Module. It's basically a trusted chip that...
It's like, isn't the equivalent of the Apple T2 chip? Kind of a security chip?
Yeah. Basically, it is the chip that then runs all of the hashes and stuff to generate encryption, if I'm thinking correctly. So, like, it's required for BitLocker because that is how your BitLocker key is stored to authenticate off of if you enter it. And it's also what, like, hashes and initializes the, like, seeding of that encryption.
And there's a lot of motherboards that don't have those still, from my understanding.
It, up until recently, has been predominantly a mobile-only feature. Because why bother with it on a desktop? Because there's generally layers of physical security to get to a desktop that would have that kind of information on it that you would want. Whereas a laptop, like, you're being mobile with it, you would want that on there so that somebody can't just rip the drive out and go pop it into a toaster dock and pull all your data. So that is a bit of a problem, especially with desktops. Older laptops are also not going to be able to work. I think 4th gen Intel and older, I think all of that is going to top out at like a 1.2 TPM, which isn't going to meet requirements. You can sometimes add TPM to a desktop board. It's very dependent on which board and which chipset and whether or not that was an option. And some newer desktop boards already have it there, the hardware physically installed and on the board. So you just have to go into BIOS and enable it. Yeah. So
I've heard that people are starting to stockpile TPMs, that this has become the new GeForce video card, that
Yep.
Man, we
So
live in a
rather
great
than-
time.
Gotta love the fucking scalpers. Because now rather than paying like $12 to $20 for a chip to just boop into your computer, it's probably going to be like $100. Because scalpers, why not? Why not make that quick money?
It's aliens. Aliens are scalpers.
all related, bro.
Aliens.
It's for their drones
They're lithium-powered drones.
that are flying supersonic.
Yep. You know, maybe that's it. Maybe that was trying to transport TPM chips.
Apparently, there's going to be a big market for that.
Could have crashed by your house. Maybe it was dropping them off at your house. Maybe Seeker is
I
the
will not
holder of
confirm
all.
Maybe it was
nor
dropping
deny
it off
that.
to these two
No
people.
comment.
Yeah.
Made of TPM.
So, all in all, this initial taste of Windows 11 release information and preparation leaves a lot to be desired. Microsoft has stated in a blog post earlier today, based on feedback so far, we acknowledge that it, the PC Health Check app, was not fully prepared to share the level of detail or accuracy you expected from us on why a Windows 10 PC didn't meet upgrade requirements. We are temporarily removing the app so that our teams can address the feedback. We will get it back online in preparation for general availability this fall. I just have to ask though, why would it take so long to improve this information the app dishes out? It's not that big or complex of an application. You're looking at specs based off of an already available list. Why not just go, this doesn't meet this because it is not on this list? Give a link to the list. There's a CPU.
Maybe the app is also
compatibility
data
list.
harvesting
There's-
and mining
It's-
coin.
I mean, Windows,
God.
to be fair, Windows sucks at error. Not correction, error dissemination.
Reporting.
Something went wrong. Something went wrong. Sorry. Like,
Yeah.
it's.
yeah.
terrible.
Scan this
it
QR
does.
code. Scan this QR code over here.
Oh,
that
you're not connected to the internet.
isn't
Oh,
actually
fuck
going to
you
lead to
then.
anything.
I only have two questions. So why do you think the chip is is it because like some weird new encryption thing that they did? They're thinking it's for
So-
like in the new system for what question number 1.
It's okay.
Question number 2. Oh no, Charlie. That's a good one.
Forget I saw this meme, and I don't know if it was somebody that posted it on our Discord or somewhere else, and it was basically that Windows blue screens. Was it one of you that posted this? Windows blue screens have gotten more cute over the years.
They have.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It went from like angry, like
That blue harsh text like that.
informative, yeah, to like, oh,
Oopsie
we're
doodles.
sorry.
Oh, poopsie. Oh, shuttlecock. Oh no.
Oh no, what did I
Shuttlecock.
do? I'm so sorry. Ooh woo. I swear,
Can't tell if my
I
GoPro's
would almost
overheating
be, I would almost be just in stitches, laughing so hard if the like Windows 11, their blue screens had the ooh woo face.
I
It
would-
was just like,
I'd be okay
we're
with
so
not having
sorry.
information.
Ooh
Be like,
woo.
how could I be mad at you?
It
I
just
got black screen.
Oh, Windows, it's okay.
Oh, black screen
Aw.
death.
Okay,
Question
so to
2.
answer your,
Before you get to it,
okay,
because we are
Okay.
running long. So question 2 is why do you think there needs to be an internet connection to set up the fucking thing? I know why, but I want to see what
Okay.
you say.
So, to answer the more readily answerable question, in that blog post that I quoted earlier, it actually talks about why new Windows 11 minimum system requirements are what they are. And they actually put out security. Windows 11 raises the bar for security by requiring hardware that can enable protections like Windows Hello, device encryption, virtualization-based security, hypervisor protected code integrity, and secure boot. The combination of these features has been shown to reduce malware by 60% on tested devices. To meet the principle, all Windows 11 supported CPUs have an embedded TPM support, secure boot, and support VBS and specific VBS, virtualization-based security capabilities. So they're raising the bar on security. I can kind of get that and understand that, but I also think it should be like a warning item, not a nope.
Requirement.
This is not
You should be able to
install.
choose to not have it.
Yes,
If you can.
yes.
For at least this initial.
100%.
I mean, what? This is supposed to come out in November? Is what they're roughly
Yep.
when. So, and if they're.
This-
or
this
support
fall.
Windows 10 for longer. I mean,
Oh,
2024?
there's 2025.
Yeah.
They're
That's
supporting
They
Windows
just
10
recently
until
cut
25.
support for Windows 7.
I know,
so,
but
mean,
but here's the thing: if it becomes as big a deal as it looks like it's going to be, I mean, if my desktop can't do it, I mean, at some point, if I want to upgrade to 11, because eventually I almost have to, because if support ends, that means it's freaking e-waste at that point. At least if I wanted to have a Windows experience, I could go Linux or whatever, blah blah blah. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But think about the vast majority of users, especially if you build
all
your
the
own
Mac
system.
users cried out in laughter.
That's also
Oh, yeah.
fair. They don't care. But I mean, it's
So-
obviously it's almost conspiracy theory time. Back to the truth is out there. It's almost like there's a weird. I know why they did it, but you can also go conspiracy theory, saying they're trying to.
Push
If
you,
you can't
to get
build,
new hardware.
push you to go manufacturer specific. Dell,
Well, remember-
any of those companies, because they're all going to be fine.
Do me a favor. Look
Oh
right
no,
there.
we've
Oh, there you go. It's all good now.
we
Thanks,
have
Will.
a history item of this actually happening with Windows Vista. The requirement of 1 gig of RAM was thrust upon them by manufacturers, rather than having what should have been 2 gigs of RAM for Windows Vista. So I don't think that's a conspiracy theory. I think that that's actually very reasonable, Seeker, for them. Yeah, I think
I do
that
too.
could absolutely be a thing.
And honestly, I think, even if we say 3.5 years from now, that's the hard cutoff on Windows 10, and then it, stops working or becomes super vulnerable or whatever. Because I mean, there are still computers running Windows XP out there. I have a client that refuses to move off of her Windows XP machine. Granted, she doesn't use the internet on it, but she refuses to move off of it because it still works to do what she needs. But 3.5 years from now, are you feasibly going to still be running that same motherboard?
I mean, I would like to.
3.5 years?
I don't-
It depends on the motherboard.
I mean, my
It really
last system
does.
I used for 10 years, and I still have it. So, I mean, there's no way in hell I'm going to be able to use that for Windows 11. Which,
Yeah.
I mean, if it's a free update, whatever. But I don't know. I'm thinking of the general consumer. I mean, if I have to, I will. It's just is what it is. But especially if the general consumer is not familiar with what's actually going on, I could see Windows throwing scary messages out there with a red X and it saying, you need to upgrade to Windows 11. You can't do it. You better go to Best Buy right now, because I have people in my family that will do that based on,
Oh yeah. And
as Charlie says.
yeah.
These llamas are going to Best Buy.
Well-
Follow them.
And I mean, I don't know about you, but I've seen, at least with my private clients, like they will spend like right around $500 for a computer, which already kind of puts it in the lower spec of what's available and out there.
You have 500
they are-
days for that to work correctly.
Yeah, and they are replacing them every 3 to 5 years, because it will finally just start running poorly enough at that 5-year mark that I can't like slim the operating system down and
Okay, well, so think about it
manually
like this.
modify startup sequences to get
I
it
mean,
running.
3.5 years is plenty of time for most businesses to upgrade, but
Yep.
think about all the computers that are just going to go in the trash at that point. I'm just thinking e-waste, going back to Charlie's thing a little bit. Like, granted, if they get a good recycling with all that stuff, which they haven't yet, it's why it's such a big problem,
But,
then
yeah.
it's not an issue. But you're thinking
But
of
there's
mass
certain counties
corporations
where you can't deal with that. E-waste is already a problem with.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So if you're forcing, because Windows has what 80% of the market or something stupid like that, and most of that is businesses that, well, at least a good portion uses the standard, probably lower tier stuff, most likely, barely enough to actually get what their jobs actually need to be. I mean, the company I used to work for before the pandemic happened just upgraded to Windows 10, which I got in many fights about. But that's probably closer. If you're mission critical stuff, you can't risk your programs going down, or they're afraid to, or don't have an IT support team. It's going to be a big deal in 3.5 years. I mean, it's silly. It's all silly. There's a way to make the transition easier, and they're choosing to not do it.
Yeah, rather than buy new computer because they got lobbied by.
And the only reason I say that is
why
else would they freaking link their own goddamn website to buy a new Windows 10 PC? I don't know. That's conspiracy theory bullshit. But quickly, since we're running long, second question, internet?
They have been moving to... So the whole thing behind Windows 10 is that it is Windows as a service. It is software as a service.
It's Skynet.
They're getting their tentacles in everything, and that's how they're providing the operating system at no upgrade cost. Because think about like the
Windows loot boxes.
Oh God, no! Please, no!
You could get 1 year of
Don't even...
Microsoft Office 38. I don't know, whatever they're at.
$720. Turn around 2 times.
Yuck. But no, you think about like all of us have. Well, maybe not Charlie, but all of us have built computers throughout the course of the last.
Charlie built his
1.5
computer.
decades.
Yeah, Charlie's
One
built
and a half.
computers.
Over the course of the last 1.5 decades.
I built my first
Where
computer
we
20
have-
years ago, asshole.
Oh.
Yeah, he's
I
the one
wasn't
who's
sorry.
already
Yeah,
built.
Okay, sorry.
Dude,
Sorry.
dude.
My apologies. All of us here, the 4 of us here,
Thank you.
have been building computers for the better part of the last 2 decades. So we have been through making Skynet, through buying all the parts, putting it together, paying for the license for Windows, and then if your system happens to outlast, like say, like me, I built a computer and then got Windows 98 Second Edition for it right as Windows XP came out. So I spent the money for a 98 Second Edition license, then I spent the money for an XP license, and then I used that XP license on a few machines. But towards the end of that, then I had to buy a Vista license, and then towards the end of that, I bought a Windows 7 license, and then I bought a Windows 8 license. So the fact that now you can just kind of keep using that same license, like my Dell laptop that I bought from Dell with XP on it, when I transitioned it to Vista, I had to buy a Vista license. When I eventually transitioned that to 7, I had to buy a 7 license
If you
to
did
make
it
A
that
year
legal.
later. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's this whole internet connected thing and making a Microsoft account. That's how they're ensuring that they are getting some money out of you. Because without an active Microsoft license or Microsoft account, you can't use the Windows Store. That's now how they're getting their money, is through the Windows Store.
Which
I don't have a
one
problem.
thing off of the Windows Store.
It's, as I've said before, I don't have a.
That I
well, I haven't said, but I
What
don't have
got
a problem
out of
with
Steam.
Obviously, you have to have internet to get an update or whatever. That's fine. But if you have the internet to even turn the damn thing on,
Yeah.
I
No,
I know
I
why
know
you're doing
people
it.
are like,
it's
it's
only initial
2021.
setup.
But you still
people
have
are
Only
to
like,
initial
that.
setup. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's why should it be that way? Should it be the other way? If you want the like the way they did with, I don't know, and I understand. I know they're a business. I know that. They're just pushing the
Okay.
envelope just a little bit, just every time, and it just
All
gets
we
a
have to
little
think
bit
back.
worthy.
Microsoft isn't even the first company to do this, to require an internet subscription for or an internet connection for initial setup. They're not even the first. Apple,
I know.
the first generation of iPads, you could not without an
yeah,
I
you're
know.
right.
with
And
well,
it was-
the first
doesn't
ones
make it
actually
right.
you had to have a computer. You had to set it up on a computer with an internet connection. So you had to have a computer and an iPad and an internet
I
connection
know.
to be
And
able
that-
to use
and
them.
iTunes.
That doesn't make it right. To me, it's the equivalent of
No.
having to have an internet connection for a single player game. People are still pissed about certain games that do that. If it's an online service only kind of game, it's different. But if you're a single player experience,
Well, here's
tentacles.
the counterpoint to that particular discussion. I wouldn't have an issue with the initial sign-in of that game, with the initial launch after install of that game requiring an internet connection to ping out to a server to then be like, oh, yep, that's a total legit copy. If that was what my Switch did, oh, I'm so pissed about Switch. I could go on to a rant about the fucking Switch. Because when you buy software through the store, every launch, it has to be on the internet. Every time you launch that specific game, it has to reach out and be like, is this still an active copy?
And that is
this still
actually the
okay?
number one reason I've never bought a Switch, because
So-
where I would use the Switch is from LA to Singapore on a plane with, guess what?
Yep.
100 megabytes of internet, because I was in business class.
And you think
otherwise
about the argument that, oh, this other company's already done it. That doesn't make it right, because watch Windows 12, you're going to have to, every time you turn on the damn computer, you're going to have that internet connection. You watch. Windows 12 is going to have that. They're
So
I don't know why, but you just watch.
hopefully by
Hopefully
that point, if an operating system does
We'll be dead
just
anyway,
be like,
so it doesn't matter.
you gotta, wireless technology will just be ubiquitous and everywhere, and it will not even be an issue at that point. It'll be like some little, like, way, way, way down in the fine print, be like, oh yeah, and you have to have a constant internet connection. We're almost getting there now with some of the 5G technology and some of the new laptops and tablets coming out with built-in 5G. It's just going to take that price to drop down. Yeah.
in the cities,
We have
not
in a lot of 5G here in Gunnison.
Wow.
Right?
I'm actually
Verizon has a
impressed.
5G tower. Like blocks that direction from me.
So in other words, you
Okay.
don't get a signal from it.
I would if I had Verizon. My mom was here with her new phone. She got a S21 and had 5G in my house and was getting like 200 megs. I'm just like, that's so stupid.
Well, who knows? Maybe that could
That's
be
so
a rant
good, but-
episode. Or a
Yeah.
discussion episode, maybe. Something similar. Off of
Maybe
that.
Like
for-
possibly next week for episode 50.
Oh, shit. I guess
True.
that's true.
And it will be a drinking episode.
Because
So it'll be
out of
discussion.
Cody
lockdown.
won't be in court.
I will be out of fucking lockdown. And escaped from Bangkok because, yeah, things are.
Nice.
Hey Cody. If a fish wears a bow tie, is he sophisticated?
No.
I actually like that
No,
one.
he's
And you're not
he's fish sticks
sophisticated either.
if he's in the band sticks.
Hey, why do dads always take an extra pair of socks with them golfing? In case they get
Why?
a hole in one.
God, I
All
wish-
right, you're
Brandon,
done. You're done.
ending. Just end this. End this madness.
Cody, where can we find you?
You can find me on Striving to Fail. Thank you. Colton.
Okay, Colton.
Seeker4761, Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, so on and so forth. Charlie.
Milnor, spelled wrong so I get it right. Steam, Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, all of the things. Brandon.
Dracanis. You can find me at thetechpirate.net and on Instagram as bvader86 for some reason.
Singing in the shower is
And,
fun until you get soap in your mouth, and then it's a soap opera.
God damn it, we almost did it.
God damn it. Thanks for joining us on this episode of This Week I'm Learning. You can find us wherever you listen to podcasts as well as on YouTube at This Week I'm Learning. For you social media peeps out there, you can find us on Twitter at THIS2WIL. If you'd like to contact us, you can send an email to twil@thetechpirate.net. See you next week!
Bye.
Victory is mine.
That was pretty fucking good.
Fuck
That was,
you, Charlie.
So my poor little GoPro apparently is like
it's
freaking
having,
out.
It's having similar
every-
problems. Yeah.
So wait, that
Every
was the
few
same
minutes,
problem.
like the bottom,
Yeah.
the bottom
Yeah,
of the screen
it's just
like,
the bottom.
I wonder
Yeah,
why.
wasn't my other camera doing something like that too?
Except
So,
for it was
I
like
don't
a
know.
bar, and you'd go flash, but it was only like a bar of
Yeah,
the weird.
hopefully it's not your laptop.
video
would make
card or
sense.
something.
Yeah,
I
but
don't know. So
yeah, maybe. I mean,
maybe it's
Pick up your
Windows update
laptop,
or
put your
something.
hands underneath it. Is it hot?
No, 1 second. It's
I know. I'm asking a lot.
my camera is leaning
Ah.
against it. So
It's
oh,
it,
they
Help!
fixed it.
We've fallen.
No,
Let's
actually-
get
It's
up.
actually
Yeah.
pretty impressive. It right-sided itself.
yeah,
oh really?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
there we
fucking
go.
amazing, actually. All right.
So
Wow,
the
it
GoPro.
does tall screen, Cody. You can do tall screen things.
Fuck off. Fuck off. Oh god, all of my stuff
Oh!
is getting droopy.
Okay, how hot is
Speaking
your
of
laptop?
That laptop's cool.
Okay.
Laptop's fine. I even tried turning
So-
it to like ultra turbo fan settings in the middle of it, and it didn't help the scenario. The GoPro, however, is pretty warm, but it was happening on 2 different cameras. It could be maybe the USB port.
I was gonna say it could
So
be the USB
I'll
port or the
switch-
cable you're using.
Yeah, it could be the cable too.
I'd replace the cable first.
Yeah,
Shorter.
we'll give
cable.
that a shot next podcast. We'll see. or I'll just.
After you'll be able to walk around and buy stuff for it.
Oh my
If-
god!
If April showers bring May flowers,
Freedom!
what do May flowers bring? Pilgrims.
Hopefully
Allergies.
the end of these.
Pilgrims. Mayflowers.
I like
Yeah.
that one too, actually.
So, one fun thing I forgot to mention. Windows 11 will let you run certain Android apps out of
That's
the
actually-
Amazon
Okay,
Marketplace.
That's
Woo.
actually interesting. Fair.
Go
yeah.
jack off your llamas. I don't care.
They should have that shit for iOS too, but maybe they will one day.
Yeah, that's actually really neat. I
I'm
know
looking
what's
forward to
happening.
it because I actually had an issue where I was trying to post up a video on
Buy
Instagram,
mobile gaming.
and
Oh, yeah.
it wouldn't, because I took it off because I did that funny like slow motion piece. It was the skateboard accident, and I took it off the phone, or took it off of the GoPro, processed it, made sure it was in the right format with the right sound codec, put it on my phone, and then tried to upload it from my phone, and it was like, nope. But it's a video. That's all it is. Nope.
Yeah, and Instagram, like, there's a bunch of apps that just won't see some files. Like, and it's weird because it will see, like, the way that the Explorer works is it will see random folders that I access, but it won't see, like, the storage folders on my micro SD card.
Yep.
And there's no way to navigate to them in the, like, add a file in Instagram. It's fucking terrible. It makes Instagram insufferable to use. I would post probably 10 times more stuff on Instagram if I could do that. But so what I have to do is I have to go into, oh, it happened again, the weird bloop. I have to actually import that picture, onto my computer. Then I have to run like Chrome in developer mode, and then
Yep.
go tell it it's a mobile browser, and then upload it from Chrome in a mobile browser because of Instagram shortcomings. Like, I
And
will say that the
by the
editing
way-
stuff is actually pretty decent for photos.
Yeah. So, by the way, from the web browser, you cannot upload a video.
Oh,
It
That
only
sucks.
allows you to do pictures. Because I tried that. I was like, oh, hey, I remember reading about a way you can get it on your web browser and do it
me,
through that way. And I'm like, yeah.
To be fair,
and
all that effort, it's like just put it on OneDrive and then upload it back to your phone real quick and do it from there.
that's what I did. And it wouldn't do it. It said it was an invalid format.
and that means that
that's
you have to pay for a secondary subscription service.
OneDrive
Again,
Actually,
you people.
OneDrive is free. OneDrive is free. It's
It
built
is.
into Windows.
Yeah.
It's free. If you're doing
I thought it
If
was
you
a-
have a Microsoft
Dropbox.
account, you get a couple of gigs for free.
Oh, okay.
It's not a lot, but it's plenty for.
or you could connect
pushing
your
things
phone
to
by
and from your
USB. There's a million other ways to do it.